guys, I have another convention vlog for you today. This one's a little different because instead of an anime convention, it was the Maine Democrats Senate candidate nominating convention to replace Graham Platner as the Democratic candidate for Senate after all of the sexual assault allegations came out against him and his campaign ended as a result. The collective people of Maine have been doing their darndest to figure out how to select the replacement candidate. And I got to be part of that process, so I'm gonna take you through my journey. It started out with nominating the delegates. Each county in Maine gets a certain amount of delegates to represent their county, based on the amount of people who live there. My county is Cumberland County, and we had 149 delegates. Total number of delegates for the state is 500, plus 100 other state reps. In order to apply to become a delegate, you just had to have been registered as a Democrat in Maine as of June 9th this year. That also was the requirement to be able to vote on the delegates. I don't think they checked anything else just to verify that you could do it. They just checked to make sure you were a registered Democrat, and then they let us in. We all wrote a little blurb about our kind of political leanings and interests. At least for my county meeting, there was no way we were going to meet all the potential delegates because the potential delegates, it's 1,000 or so for my county, and our meeting was virtual because the county is so big. Some of the smaller county meetings were in person, and you probably had the chance to meet some of the potential delegates and talk to them. After I wrote my little blurb and submitted myself and was accepted to being able to run for being a delegate, I was added to the slate for Troy Jackson. The slate is sort of a list of people who have promised to vote for that candidate. And the major runners in this race, Troy Jackson, Shanna Bellows, and Narav Shah, all had lists of people by county that if you support them, you should vote for those delegates because that is guaranteeing a one-to-one vote for that candidate. So I was there for Troy Jackson because my union has endorsed him. He's very pro-labor. And I felt like Platner's message of working class solidarity was something that Troy was going to carry forward. We did all of the county meetings last weekend, and I was one of the people voted in to be a delegate, and we drove up to Bangor today to officially cast the vote. In the time between the delegate selection and today, a lot of the candidates dropped out after it was clear there was an overwhelming support for Troy in the delegates chosen. So the convention actually ended up only having 2 candidates running for Senate. Going in, we knew it wasn't necessarily going to be super contested, but we still had to, do our votes to make it official. Anyway, this was us. We rolled up, we got checked in, got my lanyard, and then we had to lock in for a couple hours of talking.
Pursuant to the call for this nominating convention, issued on July 10, 2026. July 10 is when we started this. I officially call this convention to order.
Now, I'm not going to make you sit through every last word of this convention, but in the opening remarks, he basically established that we were starting the convention, established the secretary for the convention, and established that we had enough voting members present to have a quorum.
Mr. Chair, the Credentials Committee has reviewed and approved by majority vote the report transmitted under Section 5.9.3 of the call, confirming the eligibility of all county delegates, county alternates, and DSC members. The committee certifies a final roll of 583 voting members entitled to be seated and moves the adoption of the credentials report.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. And those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The credentials report is accepted.
Next, he established, I believe, the people who are doing the counting of the votes. And then it was time to hear from the candidates for Senate. First, we heard from Troy Jackson, which we were all pretty excited about.
Power is never just given to working people. We have to band together and take it.
Next, we heard from Sandra Pelletier, and I really need to know if she knows that she was making a Grey's Anatomy reference in her speech.
And so today I'd like to say to you, pick me, choose me, and together we will have a Democratic U.S. Senator that beats Susan Collins.
After the speeches, it was time for us to finally cast our votes.
The candidate who receives the majority of votes cast by present and voting members shall be declared the winner pursuant to Article 10 of the call. After the ballots are counted, a representative of the Tellers Committee will report the total votes for each candidate to me, and I will announce the results to this convention. Each candidate has the right to designate one observer to be present at the counting of each ballot. Will each candidate please identify their observer and send that person to the count room at this time? Thank you.
Here's what the ballot looked like, and of course, I voted for Troy. Okay, first real check-in of the day, because the noise has been crazy, and it's been crowded and everything. But we did our voting. I'm having my snack break. We got the Nature Valley. We got the coffee. It was, not very intensive because there were only 2 people running. But they are tallying the votes, and that's, we're free, we've done our duty and all that. This is our haul video. I was going to say merch haul, but I've been informed that it's actually swag because it is free and it's political. Some things about conventions never change, and it is the fact that I am sitting on the floor in the convention center, so it doesn't matter whether it's anime or politics, it's gonna happen to you. After they counted everything up, they brought us back in to share the results of the vote.
The number of invalid ballots is 0. 5 votes were cast for Sandra Pelletier, and 566 votes for Troy Jackson.
After revealing the results of the vote, it was time for the Maine Democratic State Committee to accept those results, which they did by the raising of green cards, as you can see here. We also sang Solidarity Forever, but I did not get a chance to film that because it was very impromptu and I needed to be putting my full energy into singing. So, RIP. But we did it. Troy boys. Horse. Horse.
You got a horse?
Horsey.
Well, actually, the bacon's